Okay, we're going to look at a little bit of an overview of what happened in 2.2. So we started out with an intersection of two number lines. So we have a horizontal and a vertical axis, and together we call this the XY plane, and the horizontal is the x-axis, and the vertical is the y-axis. And here we're just going to practice plotting some points, so I'm going to give you a couple of points. So we're going to plot the point 1, 2. The first coordinate, that's your x. That tells you to go left or right, depending on if you're positive or negative. And the y tells you to go up or down, depending on if you're positive or negative. So the point 1, 2 would tell us to go right 1 and up 2, and we start from the origin. So the origin's at the middle, that's 0, 0. Okay, so we're going to plot a couple of points here. In red, we'll do 3 and negative 2. So we're going to go right 3 and then down 2 from the origin. So right 3 and down 2. Then we'll do negative 1 and 4. So that would be left 1 and up 4. The negative tells us to go left, and the positive 4 tells us to go up 4. And negative 1, negative 5. Okay. And typically we'll use Roman numerals to indicate which quadrant we're in. So this would be quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4 using Roman numerals. Okay, I'm going to plot two other points. I'm going to plot the point 0, 2. So that means don't go left or right, just go straight up. And notice that we're on the y-axis. This is going to be called a y-intercept. If the x is 0, then we cross, or we are on the y-axis. If we try something like 3, 0, notice that the y-coordinate is 0. So that means we go to the right 3 and we don't go up or down, so we're on the x-axis. So if the y is equal to 0, then we are on the x-axis. And if you're on the x-axis, you're an x-intercept. If you're on the y-axis, you're called a y-intercept. So just a little bit of an overview here. Now we'll look at finding x and y-intercepts for a particular equation. So here we have a linear equation in standard form, 2x plus 5y is equal to 10. And we're asked to find the intercepts. So that means we'll plug in 0 in for x and solve for y, and then solve the same thing when we plug y in, y equals 0 in for the x. Just plug in y equals 0 and solve for the x. So we'll do y equals 0 first, and we'll go ahead and solve that, and we get x is equal to 2. So when y is equal to 0, that means we're on the horizontal axis. We haven't gone up or down, so we're crossing the x-axis at 2, 0. Now if I want to find the y-intercept, the x is going to be 0, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to plug that into the equation and solve for y, and we'll get a y-intercept of 0 and 2. Okay, we have those examples there, finding the x and the y-intercept. I'm going to do a couple more with you. What if I give you the horizontal line y equals 7? Y can't be 0 because it's 7. So we can't do this over here like we did in the previous example where we said, well, let's let y equal 0. It can't be 0. Because y can't be 0, there is no x-intercept. Because we have to, the y has to be 0 in order to cross the x-axis. So there's no x-intercept. There's no x in the equation, but y is equal to 7, so we do have a y-intercept at 0, 7, so we're okay on that point. If we do another example of finding the x and the y-intercept, we're going to follow the same procedure here. This time we have 9x squared plus 4y is equal to 36, and we're going to let the y equal 0. So we're going to replace that y with the 0, and we have 9x squared equals 36. We're going to isolate that x squared, so we're going to divide both sides by 9. The x squared is equal to 4. and then we're going to take the square root of both sides. So when we take the square root of 4, that's going to give us the 2, but when we take a square root when we're solving an equation, we're going to get the plus and minus. So we actually get two x-intercepts here. One at -2, 0, and then the other one at 2, 0. So it's a little bit more complicated in terms of solving for the x-intercepts. Now if we let the x equal 0, then the problem's a little bit nicer. So 9 times 0 squared plus 4y equals 36. So 4y is equal to 36. We'll divide both sides by 4, and we get y is equal to 9. So we have a y-intercept at 0 and 9. Okay. I'm going to do one more example of finding x and y-intercepts. And we'll get y is equal to x over x squared minus 25. We'll go ahead and set y equal to 0, and then we're going to solve for x. So we're going to go ahead and fraction bust and multiply by the LCM of x squared minus 25. So you get 0 is equal to x. So when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 0. So if that happens, then you're crossing the origin, and you're both an x and y-intercept. And that's the only one we're going to have for this one.